on the northwestern side of 820, just to the west of 35W. This is moving toward Basswood Boulevard, Western Center Boulevard, North Tarrant Parkway, North Beach Street. So we're north of downtown Fort Worth, moving toward Saginaw, moving toward Keller, moving then toward Southlake. These are the towns that are in the path of this storm. Damage has been reported right on the Tarrant-Parker County line. Strong winds and very large hail. Golf ball up to baseball size hail is a possibility with this storm. We'll take the rotation off, or we can actually just widen out just a little bit. Let's widen our view out. And as we widen out, we're going to put a track on it one more time from the center of the circulation, moving east-northeast at about 30 miles per hour. That will put it in these towns at these times. Keller at 8:38, Colleyville at 8:46, Southlake at 8:51. That's the latest there. I know we have some of our tower cams and some of our, one of our storm chasers is in Lake Worth. Let's go to the storm chaser right now. You can see do we have them? Can we talk to them, Ed?
Matt Howerton.
Matt Howerton is out there with Josh Stephen, if I'm not mistaken, and they are in Lake Worth, so they are right there on the just on the backside of this storm system. At a minimum, you're looking at very, very heavy rain with this storm. But once again, the concern is not only the golf ball to baseball size hail, and we've had multiple reports of golf ball size hail. Doppler radar is indicating that we have hail that's 3 inches in diameter, so we're looking at hail that's bigger than baseball. So very, very large hail, and many of us have been through this in the past when we have hail that large, the damage that it can create, the damage that we've seen here in North Texas. So it's not only the large hail, the golf ball maybe up to baseball size and larger, but a very well-defined tornado signature. And we are getting reports from folks on the ground that they are indeed seeing rotation with this storm. As the storm moved across Lake Worth, rotation was spotted with it. So the circulation right now is it is almost on top of you in Saginaw. So at this moment, the storm spotters that are out there right now are telling me that they're having a difficult time seeing this, that only because if it is actually on the ground or is actually rotating aloft, it is so wrapped in rain right now that it's impossible to see. But it's crossing Business 287 and it's approaching 35, the Alliance Corridor right now. So it is just just right on top of Saginaw. And as we zoom into these areas and we show you these locations, please take shelter. If you're in Saginaw, you should have been in your safe room quite a while ago, at least 10 minutes ago or so. Here's Western Center Boulevard. There's 35W. So we're just right now on the west side of 35W, but it's going to cross the interstate here in about the next 5, 6, 7 minutes or so. Then it will be east of 35. Then it'll run through Beach Street, Summerfield Boulevard. Here's North Tarrant Parkway. Here's Whiteley Road. Now we move from Saginaw into Watauga. Let's shift our map so I can see a little bit more to the east. And as we look more to the east, you can see Starnes Road. There's North Tarrant. Let's move the map a little bit more to the east yet if we can, and maybe widen out just a little bit. If you live in any of these areas, there's Colleyville, here's North Richland Hills, here's Watauga. So once again, the storm right now that may have already produced a tornado, that storm right now is in Saginaw. It is getting ready to cross. It's crossed 287. It's just on the west. It's just on the east side of 287 right now. That's where the rotation is at this point. I know we have Josh Howerton, one of our reporters. He is out there in that area right now. Matt Howerton is out there. Matt, let's give us an update on where you are and what you've been seeing. It looks like the rain is really coming down at this moment. Okay, we have lost that. We do have, you can see the heavy rain that's falling right there. Right now, the potential tornado, the rotation that we have with that tornado has crossed 287. We're moving the rotation just a little bit. Sirens are going off all across the Dallas-Fort Worth area at this, all across Tarrant County, certainly all across Tarrant County. And now this storm that has had rotation with it, our storm spotters, our storm chasers are telling us that they have seen rotation. But then they were telling us that it was raining so much, and you saw that on Matt Howerton's camera there just a moment ago. It's raining so much, if we still have rotation, it appears as though we do, it is most likely a rain-wrapped tornado. So it's impossible to see at this point. Plus it's 8:23 at night. So it's dark outside. So again, unless we have some type of a lightning strike and it breaks free from the rain for just a moment, you're not going to be able to see this. So if you live in Watauga, if you live in Keller, Southlake, Bransford, I want you to take shelter immediately. Go to your safe room. Here's Keller just up to the north. The rotation is going to take it between Watauga and Keller. But if you live anywhere in the Watauga-Keller area, please seek shelter immediately. Just take the kids. Go to your safe room. That's the best place, the smartest thing to do right now. We have our WFAA app, and you can watch us streaming our live coverage on that. We have disabled the commercial, so you don't have to sit through that. You can also go on to WFAA.com. That's disabled also. So just please go to the safe room, take that app, take your laptop, whatever you have, and just go watch this online in your safe room. We are in Saginaw right now. That's where our rotation is. Once again, as it moved across Lake Worth, we had multiple reports from spotters and also chasers telling us that they were seeing rotation. Several Doppler radars that we use were also showing very strong rotation with it. The Doppler radar as well that we have on TV right now, that too is showing strong rotation. We had a very well-defined hook just a short time ago. We not only had that hook, we had a real strong couplet signature, which all of that right there speaks to the seriousness of the situation. A situation that I would not have ever interrupted the president's speech to the country if we didn't have a life-threatening situation on our hands. And that's why we have the tornado warning in effect for Tarrant County until 9 o'clock. And that's why we're here on TV right now, as we always are in this type of a situation. Just on the west side of 35W, just to the north of 820. So as you look at this, we're in the northwestern quadrant of 820 and 35W right now, kind of that northwestern quadrant, if you will, of Tarrant County. I'm looking at some of these tower cams over my shoulder here, and the skies are lighting up with lightning across the area. The thunderstorm is moving toward you in Keller, toward you in Southlake. It is moving that direction. It is about ready to cross 35W. It will do that very shortly, and as it does that, we'll put a track back on there. As it does that, we will continue to keep you updated on the area of concern. I'm looking at the radar image right there and the circulation, and I'm a little concerned that the system, the storm itself, may be wrapped back into the actual thunderstorm cell itself. Once again, we very well may have a rain-wrapped tornado here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, specifically in Tarrant County. And as we take a look at this, the timing for Keller is 8:39. Bransford is 8:46, Southlake is 8:52, 8:57 in Grapevine, Flower Mound is 9 o'clock, and Coppell is 9:05. Jason Joseph's our weather producer. Jason, put up some of these tower cams here so folks can see that. Let's go back to that driving shot that we have. Keller, Trophy Club, Southlake, go to your safe room immediately. We have potentially a rain-wrapped tornado in the northern sections of Tarrant County. The northern sections of Tarrant County, and that is the area of concern right now. That's where our storm chaser is at this point. That's the one on the left. On the right, that's our UNT camera, and that is looking to the south, and that is looking, in essence, that would be southwest, looking in the direction of this tornado-warned storm. So please take cover. Sirens are sounding all across Tarrant County. Circulation right now is near Blue Mound, but it's not as well defined. It's not as well defined as it was just a few moments ago. Not as well defined as it was just a few moments ago, but still a very well-defined, not as well-defined as it was, but still a strong signature as we go back to the radar. Still a strong signature on News 8 Doppler net. We'll put the radar back up. We'll go back to the reflectivity. It'll take us just a second. But you can still see, I mean, this is pretty textbook right now, unfortunately. There's our tornado-warned storm. Saginaw, Keller, Southlake, Bedford. You're all in this tornado-warned storm. DFW, you're in it. It's moving eventually toward you in Flower Mound and Louisville, Carrollton, the Colony. That's where it's moving. So here's 121, kind of moving in that general direction up into parts of Collin County as well. See the hook that we have? You see the rotation signature that we're putting on there right now? This is certainly not a situation to take lightly. And remember, we have been talking throughout the afternoon and really this entire week about the severe weather potential as we head into the middle and the latter part of the week, Wednesday and Thursday specifically. And right now, the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area, the vast majority of North Texas, is under a tornado watch until 2 o'clock in the morning. So the conditions are favorable for tornadic development. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the tornado watch in effect until 2 o'clock in the morning. There's our rotation. Let's go to Matt Howerton. I know we have Matt on the phone. We also have Matt's live shot. Matt, give me an update where you are and what you're seeing at this moment.
Well, Pete, we are on 820 right now. We are headed east. And it's been a pretty rough evening watching and following this storm cell. We started following it just west of Weatherford, and then we've seen it kind of move into the northern part of Fort Worth. We've seen torrential downpour. We've also seen really strong winds up to 50, possibly 60 miles per hour. We've also heard reports from the DPS, a dispatcher in one of the scanners that we're listening to, talking about golf ball size hail that some of the officers are reporting. One officer reported that he was headed to a trailer home that had been flipped over on its side, I think near Weatherford. So there's some damage here that this storm is causing. We're on the tail end of it, moving, like I said, on 820 east. We passed Lake Worth, or excuse me, we're in Lake Worth, and we passed over the lake on 820. We could hear sirens. We saw people pulling over to the side of the road. So this is a pretty rough storm that is moving through this part of Tarrant County, and obviously was out there in Parker County to begin with. That wall cloud that we were chasing was just turning more and more ominous as we were following it. Right now, we're not seeing a ton of rain, but we're getting a little bit out of this storm. It seems as if right now you can see that there's the express exit of 377 Denton Highway. But we are following it as it moves along. But yes, it's been really rough, and there's a lot of things that are indicating that there is a chance, or like you said, a possible chance for a tornado to touch down in this area. And for those who are listening, be sure you're taking shelter, and also be sure that you are heeding any warnings that come out here from the National Weather Service.
Okay, and Matt, thank you very much for that update. Once again, we do have a tornado warning for Tarrant County. That goes until 9 o'clock tonight. A tornado warning in effect for Tarrant County until 9 o'clock tonight. If you live in the northern half of Tarrant County, and I understand right now that sirens are going off all across Tarrant County at this moment, but if you live in the northern half of Tarrant County, if you live in Keller, if you live in Southlake, if you live in Coppell, any of these northern Tarrant, southern Denton, kind of that southwestern sections of Collin County, the western sections of Collin County, you need to stay alert. Now, right now, the big area of concern is in Watauga. So it's just crossed through Saginaw. It's in Watauga right now, moving right along 377 North Tarrant Parkway. It's at Heritage Trace Parkway. Look at the hail core. Let's take a look at this, Jason, because we have had, that's up in Keller right now. That's up by North Beach Street, right there at 377 Golden Triangle Boulevard, Johnson Road. I mean, the hail core with this thing is ridiculous. I mean, we're looking at hail right now. We've had multiple hail reports right on the Tarrant Parker County line, multiple hail reports of golf ball size. Doppler radar is indicating 3-inch in diameter hail. So we've had reports of golf ball, maybe close to tennis ball. So we know that has happened. And now we're back down. We were at like 3.2 inches in diameter. Now we're back down to 2.5 inches in diameter. So once again, that's moving toward you in Keller. Okay, once it leaves Keller, it's going to head directly toward you in Southlake. Keller, of course, is just to the west of Southlake. That's the path. That's where it's moving. Let's track the hail core right now off to the northeast. There's Southlake. There's Grapevine. Here's Trophy Club. Here's Flower Mound. Here's Coppell. You see what I'm saying here? Yep, there we are. There's a Keller. So it's there right now. It'll arrive in Southlake at 8:50, Grapevine at 8:57, Flower Mound at 8:59, Coppell at 9:04, Louisville at 9:11. That's the place. Now, I will let you know in the control room, I do have my earpiece in so I can hear you guys now. If you have, yes, whoever's talking to me, I can hear you fine. Okay, Danny, so here's what we have. This is the severe thunderstorm that most likely produced a tornado. Wouldn't be surprised at all if we have tornado damage right on the Parker-Tarrant County line or just inside the Tarrant County line in western Tarrant County. Lake Worth area, maybe the Watauga area, that's a possibility. The Saginaw area, the signature was just too well defined, and a number of our chasers and spotters that are out in the field right now, they're telling us the same thing. Hey, we saw the rotation. We saw the rotation, and that's why the tornado warning was issued until 9 o'clock for Tarrant County, because we had confirmation of it. This just wasn't something that we're looking at here just on Doppler radar. We had our eyeballs on it, and we saw it too. We have the large hail in Keller right now, right on 377, just on the east side of 35W. This is moving toward you in Southlake. So as I mentioned, when it was back around Saginaw, west of Saginaw, I was asking you to please go to your safe room. I'm doing the same thing right now in Southlake. I know I've mentioned it a number of times that it may indeed be, the rotation may indeed be rain wrapped. And if it is rain wrapped, you're not going to see it until it's too late. And even then, you may not see it either. So there it is. Let's put a track on that. Tornado warning in effect for Tarrant until 9 o'clock tonight. Moving toward Southlake. The hail core is in Keller right now. The rotation is just on the, we'll call it South Keller, if you will. And that's moving toward you in Southlake. East-northeast, 35 miles an hour. That's the forward speed. There it is. There's the time. Southlake at 8:50. Wow, we're getting a report right now of 2.5-inch hail in Keller Town Center. 2.5-inch hail in Keller Town Center. That is really, really large hail. I know we also have meteorologist Kyle Roberts. He's over at our Young Street studio. So Kyle, just hop in and talk in just a moment if you have anything for me. I know you're handling social, you're spinning in circles right now. But once again, that's large hail. Right now, there's North Tarrant Parkway. There's Shady Grove Road. There's Bursey Road. There's Starnes Road, Davis Boulevard, Bear Creek Parkway, Pleasant Run Road, there's Bransford, WLD Lockett Road, or it's West LD Lockett Road, and Starnes is down to the south. Whiteley, of course, runs north to south right there. So if you live in any of these areas, you need to be in your safe room ASAP. Please go to your safe room as quickly as possible, the lowest floor of your home. And in addition to the threat of a tornado right now, when you're looking at hail that's, 2.5 inches, that's egg size is 2 inches, tennis ball is 2.5 inches, baseball is 2.75. That's the hail threat that we have right now. It's golf ball size or larger. We've all seen what the baseball or the softball size hail can do. We've seen that here, unfortunately, multiple times over the years. And although I'm not getting any reports of softball size hail, certainly the golf ball to tennis ball size hail, that's what's occurring. Keller Town Center right now, I just saw a report there from one of our chasers saying that they're getting reports of 2-inch in diameter hail right there in Keller. So once again, if you live around what is that? Borland Road, Mount Gilead Road, Bancroft Road, Johnson Cross Timbers. There's Keller Parkway. There's Golden Triangle on the just on the west side of 377. There's Keller Hazlitt. That is Roanoke. Kind of hard to look at these at a different angle, but you see where I'm talking. So it's right in the heart of Keller right now. As we zoom out, I want to look at the rotation. Once again, we have seen rotation with this storm. Our storm chasers, our storm spotters have confirmed that they too have seen it with their own eyes. Multiple radars that we use, they have also shown a strong signature. And although the rotation signature, if you will, isn't as strong right this moment as it was even 5 or 10 minutes ago, we still have a little notch here. And anytime you have a little notch like that, you certainly have rotation aloft, and the concern is with the dynamic atmosphere that we have in place, with the reports that we've already seen, and with this little notch that we have right here, we do indeed still have rotation aloft. The question now is, do we have it down at the surface? And what we don't know at this point is, we haven't had any reports of any damage in Keller. We've had reports of hail damage in Keller. We have not had any reports of tornado damage in Keller right now. So my concern is it aloft, or is it just rain wrapped and our folks aren't seeing it? So that's what we're efforting to find out right now. Meteorologist Kyle Roberts. Kyle, I know you're here. I know you've been checking on things as well. Give us an update if you can.
Well, yeah, I just saw, Pete, that a 3-inch hailstone was now reported there in Keller, which is obviously bigger than 2 inches. And so that's getting up to the size of baseball or bigger. And so the tornado warning with this storm, definitely the primary concern. But the secondary concern, if not almost right up with that tornado warning, is the large hail that you've been talking about in this storm right there that's just moved through Keller, kind of along South Lake Boulevard there, going to continue moving off to the north and east. I did have a bit of good news, though, is that if the storm stays the way it is right now, it does seem that we will have a severe thunderstorm warning downstream. In other words, what I mean by that is as this storm moves over other parts of the DFW area, as it may move into parts of Denton County, Dallas County, Collin County, that we may only have a severe thunderstorm warning for this storm as opposed to a tornado warning. But the current tornado warning does run until 9 o'clock, so it does have another 20 minutes contained with that tornado warning. Everybody needs to stay vigilant, and if you are in that tornado warning, continue to seek shelter. But yes, that hail core right there, capable of producing 3-inch sized hail, which is larger than baseballs, and you can see it right there between 377 and 114. This is the east sides of Keller, about to move into the South Lake area. And this hail core has been intense since back over Parker County, which was, 30 plus miles back to the west, and has really not shown any signs of weakening at this point. So areas from South Lake, potentially Roanoke, from Flower Mound, Coppell, Louisville, maybe eventually the Colony, parts of Plano potentially could end up being in this hail core. But as of right now, kind of that South Lake and 114 area, the primary concern.
Yeah, and Kyle, even if we have a severe thunderstorm warning for these downstream areas, if you will, your point is so valid. I mean, we're looking at tennis, and Kyle, do this. Will you help Jason Joseph, please, get some of these pictures? I saw them come in on my Twitter page just a moment ago. I mean, we're looking at tennis ball to baseball size hail. This is nothing to take lightly. This isn't the pocket change stuff that we talk about a lot. This is damaging hail, life-threatening hail, certainly property damage hail, and we've all seen that. Remember the stuff we've seen in Wiley, the baseball-size hail and bigger? Remember all the damage that it did there to all of the homes, to all of the cars, to property? People were hurt with that too, so stay in your house. Stay away from windows right now. The rotation with this storm isn't as strong as it was 10, maybe 15 minutes ago, but it now has some really large hail. It has had some really large hail. The pictures are just coming in right now, and I can see you guys are grabbing those here off to my right. You guys are grabbing those pictures. But I tell you what, wait until you see these pictures of this hail. It is unfortunate right now that we're in this type of a situation. But once again, a tornado warning is in effect for Tarrant until 9 o'clock. So I'm not just concerned about the tornado warning. I'm extremely concerned about that. I'm also extremely concerned about the hail. It's not the nickel, dime, penny size stuff. It is big hail that we're getting reports of right now. This is northern Tarrant. So it's really northern Tarrant, kind of on the Tarrant, North Tarrant, South Denton county line. We have video right now. Let's go to that. Let's take a look at that. Thank you, Danny. And what we're in, this is Lauren Zakalik's video.
Well, it's Tracy Westrup. She's in Hazlitt.
This is in Hazlitt, North Fort Worth.
Yep.
Okay.
And she put this out probably about, I want to say about 15 minutes ago, 10, 15 minutes ago. Wow. Huge chunks of hail coming down.
Yeah. So now they're getting ready to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. We are now getting reports of tennis ball to baseball size hail also being confirmed by our National Weather Service employees. A downstream severe thunderstorm warning, meteorologist Kyle Roberts mentioned it a moment ago. Downstream severe thunderstorm warning is about ready to be issued for Denton County. Denton County is about ready to be issued for a severe thunderstorm warning for the very, very large hail. So, excuse me. So do this. Stay away from the windows. We have a tornado warning until 9 o'clock. Go on your lowest floor of your home. Go to an interior room of your home and stay inside. Don't go outside. You saw they were taking some video of that from the inside, but look at this. That's tennis ball size hail right there. That's near Golden Triangle. That's hashtag, what is that? @WhipSmart tweeted me that one just a few moments ago. So that's the size of hail that we're seeing right now across the area. That's my concern. The rotation with this storm in Tarrant County is just as intense as it was 5 or 10 minutes ago, but not as intense as it was 15 minutes ago. So it's weakened. I'm concerned that it may be rain wrapped to some degree, but it has definitely weakened. But still, the storm right now is about ready to exit. It's moving across Lake Grapevine. It's about ready to exit Tarrant County, and it's moving into Denton, up into Trophy Club, moving toward Flower Mound, eventually toward Louisville. It's right now, the core of the hail is just on the west side. South Lake, you may get lucky. Keller, you didn't. South Lake, you may get lucky, but it's going to be a close call. Let's say if the center of South Lake is South Lake Town Center, it may just miss South Lake Town Center, but it's going to be a really close call on that. It is moving toward Flower Mound right now. That is where it is located. And now we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Tarrant County. Kyle, talk to me about that. What happened there? Did they cancel the tornado watch and switch over to, they canceled the tornado warning?
I was just about to jump in and tell you that the tornado warning has now been canceled. We do not have a tornado warning for any part of the DFW area, but we do have the severe thunderstorm warning now for parts of Denton County, and that warning because of the hail that we are seeing in that storm. You know, tennis ball to baseball sized hail that fell in Keller. That hail core does not show any signs of weakening at the moment, so that's why that severe thunderstorm warning has now been issued for Denton County, kind of the southern part of Denton County. Denton proper does not look like you are in the warning, but Denton County obviously has a high population area from Flower Mound to Louisville to the Colony to Little Elm, anywhere along 35, most of the storms to the east of 35W, but 35E definitely in the path of this storm. Basically going to move that hail core going to move once it gets there, almost straight down 121 is kind of what it looks like. 121 actually kind of curves there, so maybe just north of that, but once it starts moving up into parts of Collin County, that's where that storm can end up tracking. But yeah, Trophy Club, as Pete just mentioned, South Lake proper, it looks like it may pass just north of you. Flower Mound, though, unfortunately, that hail core does look like it's going to move in your way, anywhere around Grapevine Lake. Definitely in the path of this storm. Anybody around Louisville Lake Louisville in the path of this storm as well. There you can see the arrival times. Jason put kind of a track on there for the actual hail core. Flower Mound about 8:51, Double Oak just a little bit before 9 o'clock, Louisville just after 9. If it can hold together, the Colony will be about 9:17. But that is a track for the hail core itself. Remember, you're going to see heavy rain, you're going to see lightning all before this storm arrives. And Jason, can you just zoom out a little bit and maybe get more of a kind of a wider shot of DFW? Because I just want to make sure that there are quite a few, to clear maybe a few locations for the time being. This storm is well north of the heart of Fort Worth, well north of the heart of Dallas. This is going to pass north of the airport. It's going to likely pass north of the majority of maybe Carrollton. Likely going to pass north of the Highland Park area, Garland, Mesquite, Lancaster, Arlington. I saw some people asking about Arlington earlier on Twitter. Yeah, Arlington, nowhere close to this storm. It's moving, it's north of you and moving off to the northeast. But those of you, Louisville, Flower Mound, maybe even eventually areas North Plano, Frisco, and Collin County, kind of right now is your heads up for this storm. You're not under a warning of any kind right now, but I am going to give you a little bit of a heads up that this storm, if it holds together, will be headed your way. And there's kind of the arrival times of the leading edge of this storm, kind of when it may first arrive. Not at the most intense part of it, but when you could start to maybe notice that storm moving overhead. And that would be Louisville a little before 8:50, Frisco about 9:10 or so, Plano 9:20-ish, and then McKinney about 9:30. As I mentioned, it almost looks like the storm's going to track almost right along or maybe just north of 121 there, or the Sam Rayburn Tollway, once it eventually moves up that way. But Jason, why don't we zoom back in there to kind of
Kyle, let's
go ahead, Pete.
Let's switch to this other graphic source here, and let me show you some of these pictures that people are tweeting me right now. That is Peyton tweeting me that. Hale and Keller from Susan. Can't see, but you can see. Let's see, what do we have here? Look at all the hail here. Tisha Perez tweeted me that. Look at the hail that we have here in North Fort Worth. That's off of Keller Hicks. I mean, you can see that's tennis ball size hail that we're seeing there right now. I'm just grabbing all of this stuff off my Twitter page. Justin Sterna tweeted us this video. You can see the hail, certainly some golf ball size hail hitting the pool. Hopefully no damage there in that area. Here's a good comparison. I don't know what kind of ball that is. That looks like an orange tennis ball, but you can see the large hail that we have there with this. Some of the other ones, look at this 3-inch hail in North Fort Worth and Keller. You can see the ruler there that JMOSE has given us. And then, Kara says super fun. So, yeah, super fun, no question about that, but some really, really large hail. This is in North Fort Worth. Once again, the Wolf and the Shepherd podcast tweeted me that one. Eagle Mountain or Eagle Ranch, I should say, that's in North Fort Worth. Some interesting looking hailstones there. And then look at all the hail that's on the ground here in Keller. That's from Deb. So this is the reason why we're on right now. This is another one that was sent in, some golf ball size hail. That too is in North Fort Worth. This is off of Pearson north of 1709. My gosh. I mean, some really, really large hail that we're seeing in these locations. And you can see this Golden Triangle and Beach at Lexington Place Mobile Home Community. Joe tweeted me that one. So we are getting large hail all over the place. I want everyone to just stay alert tonight. We have large hail that's in the forecast. Flower Mound is activating their emergency management folks. They are on the scene right now. Golf ball size hails over Trophy Club. The main hail core is presently over the north part of South Lake. Let's go back. You can get off my Twitter page right now. We're keeping that updated as well. Thanks for all the pictures that you've sent in, and keep those coming in. We'll get those back on TV here in just a few moments. That's our hail core. So it's right there on the Tarrant Denton County line right now. The thunderstorm warning is in effect for Denton until 9:45. Tarrant, the tornado warning has been canceled. So we've transitioned from probably a tornado that touched down in the Saginaw area, or maybe just to the west of Saginaw, a tornado that may have touched down. We're waiting to get confirmation from that. We do have confirmation from our folks on the ground that actually saw rotation with the thunderstorm. So we have that. We'll find out. We're efforting information right now as to whether or not we have damage in those areas, or whether or not a tornado actually could have touched down. But it was most likely rain wrapped, so we don't have any video of that at this moment. But we've transitioned from that situation, a tornadic situation, to a very large hail situation. And you can literally, Jason, draw a line for me here. I mean, look where the hail core is moving. Flower Mound, Louisville, the Colony. I mean, Kyle mentioned just a moment ago, meteorologist Kyle Roberts, it looks like it's going to run right on 121. It's going to run Sam Rayburn Parkway. It's going to run right along 121 toward the Colony. It'll miss this southwestern corner of Plano and that southwestern corner of Collin County, but it's going to be right on 121. So we all know 121, that's where we have Legacy on the east side. We have Legacy West on the west side. We have the Star right here, the Cowboys, right? We have the Star right here in Frisco, right on the tollway. It's running right through there. Right here on 121, we have those car dealerships there. And I'm just thinking of the hail that's moving toward those car dealerships right there on the west side of the tollway, right there on the west side of the tollway, right there on the north side of 121. We have Nebraska Furniture Mart right there in the Colony, right in this area right here, Stonebriar Country Club. We have all this whole big area of development, and that development extends all the way down to Louisville, all the way down to Flower Mound. I mean, we're in the heart of the Metroplex, with the almost the most populated area of Dallas-Fort Worth is in this whole chunk right now. It extends from really southern Denton into Tarrant County, of course, Dallas County, and this side of Collin County is the most populated part of Collin County, and that's where we have the really, really large hail, golf ball size or bigger. I've showed you the pictures of the 3-inch hail. A 3-inch hail, that's some serious damage. Remember, baseball size is 2.5. I think tennis ball is 2 1/4. I think baseball is 2.5. But that's what we're dealing with right now. Now, the hail core has gone down a little bit. As far as, the 3-inch, it's more likely right now, maybe it's just egg size hail as opposed to, large apple is technically the classification for 3-inch hail. So the 3-inch hail has dropped to maybe 2-inch hail. So from a big apple down to like an egg size hail. As far as the wind threat right now, we're still looking at some gusty winds at this point, but I do believe this is mainly a hail threat right now. That is exactly what we're seeing. Let's go back to my Twitter page, if you can. Kyle, hang on for just a second.
Okay.
Go back to my Twitter page. This person, Brady Tucker, tweeted me that. That's his car. That is not good. That's the type of damage that we're seeing out there right now. So please, just stay in the house. Hopefully you've pulled your car inside into some type of a sheltered area, because that's the type of hail damage. And that's what Brady said when he tweeted me this. Man, I should have pulled my car in the garage. So he's in Keller. So that's the damage that we're seeing in Keller. I mentioned, well, it's slightly smaller than a tomato, although I don't know what size tomato that is. Oh, it's a Roma tomato. That's in North Fort Worth. Here we go. We have, that's probably, like a golf ball size. So some of these others, these are hailstones. This is a Keller Parkway. Man, that is a lot of hail right now that we are seeing in these locations. So please stay alert. Please do all that you can. There's some more stuff. So you can see the size of the hail right there. That was from M. Jones, once again, tweeting me that picture. So the tornado warning has been canceled. We can go back to Doppler radar. Once again, thanks to everyone for sending me those, tweeting me those pictures. We've transitioned from a tornadic situation, a damaging wind situation, to now we're dealing with a really large hail situation that's in Double Oak, that's in Flower Mound, that's in Louisville. It's crossed out of Tarrant County. Tarrant County right now, although you're still seeing some wind, you're still seeing some lightning, you're still seeing some heavy rain. But right now what we're dealing with is in Denton County. Severe thunderstorm warning for Denton County, Bartonville, Highland Village, Louisville, the Colony. It's going to run right up I-21. It's going to run from Flower Mound to Louisville, right here at 35E. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I just forgot the name of this mall that's in this area right here. It just slipped my mind. What's that?
Stonebriar? No,
Stonebriar's over here in Collin County. There's right there in the Louisville area, right at 35E and 121, right on the north side. I've only driven past it 1,000 times, but that's what happens. Flower Mound, there's our hail core moving toward you in Louisville, the Colony, up toward Frisco. So it's staying north of the George Bush, the Turnpike. It's staying north of the Bush Turnpike right now, and that's the track that we have with the very large hail. Louisville, the Colony, Frisco, your arrival time, 9:06 in Louisville, 9:20 in the Colony, 9:29 in Frisco. Meteorologist Kyle Roberts is with us. Kyle, talk for a minute, buddy. I need to get a quick drink.
Yeah, gladly, Pete. I have been monitoring social media, and there was one thing I wanted to clarify for people out there, because there were reports of sirens, and I believe these sirens were going off in Flower Mound and maybe some other areas of the DFW area, kind of northern Tarrant County into parts of Denton County as well. Now, I know there's no tornado warning right now, so why are the sirens going off? Well, the sirens, we refer to these as outdoor warning sirens. They're not just tornado sirens, so they can be sounded for other things other than just a tornado. And one of the things that they can be sounded for is hail golf ball size or larger. This storm has definitely produced larger than golf ball size hail. We've had hail tennis ball size, baseball size. Back when it was over Keller, probably what it was around Trophy Club. I mean, we've been showing you the pictures. It's still ongoing from Flower Mound up to Double Oak right now. So that's why you may be hearing the sirens, is because they can be sounded for things other than a tornado warning. Right now, we do not have that tornado warning in place anymore. That's good news, but this storm has evolved into a hailer. It's the hail is that primary concern right now. We have not seen this hail core weaken much, if anything. As Pete was saying earlier, you know, it was the size of a decent size apple. Now it may be a smaller size apple. But yeah, this is what we're dealing with this evening as the storm continues to move off to the northeast, kind of moving straight toward the I-35 and Louisville area. We'll put a couple streets on here. Flower Mound Road, Long Prairie Road, basically going to track right through your area. Main Street of Louisville, I know, you know, that Main Street area of Louisville, you have 121, kind of the business 121 that comes into 35. Valley Ridge Boulevard. Up here at the moment, there's some boat dealerships along 35 right here. As it moves toward Lake Louisville, that's where that hail core is. Cross Timbers Road, as Pete was saying, a very populated area. I mean, this entire region right here is just neighborhoods. I mean, it really is. It's just residential neighborhoods are all congregated in this point. And as it moves off to the north and east, obviously it's going to track over Lake Louisville. No homes over Lake Louisville or on Lake Louisville, but you move just east of Lake Louisville, then you pick up, you know, the Colony, you pick up areas of Frisco, you pick up other parts of North Texas as well. So that's my concern as this storm continues to move off to the north and east at the moment, and that hail core continues to track. Looks like we're about to get a radar update here, and I mean, that hail core is just going to shift a little bit like this, and it's not going to change in intensity. At least I don't see that happening at the moment. And by the way, reminder, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45 this evening. No more tornado warnings in effect, but this is a serious storm. That's why we continue to bring you coverage right now. The tornado warning is expired. We were concerned with a possible tornado earlier over northern Tarrant County, maybe right on the Tarrant Parker County line. We may have had a brief spin up somewhere in that area, but now this storm, a supercell thunderstorm tracking across northern parts of DFW, definitely intense, definitely a cause for concern right now, and that's why we continue to bring you coverage. So,
hey, Kyle.
Yes, Pete.
Let me show a couple more pictures. These just came in on my Twitter page too. Let's go back to that source. This was Tootie in Keller. It says, "Get your cars inside." Look at the damage here look at the damage on this car, and you can see the window. I mean, again, we're talking baseball-sized hail. It's no surprise that we're seeing these pictures. I hate it that we're seeing these pictures, but it's no surprise. I mean, my gosh, I mean, look at this. This is the type of stuff that, unfortunately, we have seen too often here the last handful of years. So some really large hail. Once again, that's probably tennis ball size hail that we're seeing right here. At a minimum, we're just seeing a lot of hail in these areas. And even if it's, you know, if it's quarter size and larger, that's the type of hail that creates some damage, and quarter size is 1 inch. So that one right there is 1 1/4 inches. You can see a lot of quarter to $half size hail. This was Donnie Reed tweeted me this in North Fort Worth. Once again, probably the size of a golf ball. Oh my gosh, look at that size of that hailstone right there. I mean, so we're looking at, and Mark tweeted me that one. Keller South Lake border, Neural Phantom tweeted me that one. So we have some really large hail. You can come back to me here in the studio, but some really large hail that we're seeing right now. So here's what we're going to do. It's 9 o'clock. I want to do a quick reset and let you know exactly what's going on. We have our continuous severe weather coverage happening right now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We had a tornado warning for Tarrant County. We may have very well had a tornado touchdown in the Saginaw area, or maybe just to the west of Saginaw, the Tarrant Parker County line. We then transitioned from a rotating supercell thunderstorm, we then transitioned into a large damaging hail maker. We have seen multiple reports of hail that's anywhere from pea size all the way up to large apple size hail. I want to take a look at this picture that we have right now of some of the large hail. Yep, it's taking 2 hands to hold this one. It is large. So this is hail that's probably our 3-inch hail. And again, the official classification is large apple. Baseball is 2 3/4. Yeah, baseball's 2 3/4. Tennis ball's 2.5. Egg size is 2 inch. 3 inches large apple and 4 inches softball. I don't know if that's softball, but it certainly looks bigger than any apple that I've seen. Here's a lot of a 2-inch hail. That was in Keller. Here's a lot of 2-inch hail. This one right here, that's the egg size stuff. You can see that there. I think we might have a couple more pictures or maybe even some more video. Yeah, it's really coming down. And this video is this is in Keller also. Yeah, Keller, you've really taken the brunt of this. The damage that we have seen there from the hail. I haven't had any reports of any wind damage in Keller. The reports I've had of damage in Keller, it has all been really, really large hail. This is Town Square. Is this South Lake Town Square? This is in Keller. This is in Keller right now. That's Keller Town Square. So this is Keller Town Square. Oh, and that's Vista Ridge. My friend Mike Carroll texted me just a moment ago. It's the Vista Ridge is the mall that I was thinking of there in the southeastern corner of Denton County, right there in Louisville. This is in Keller Town Square that we're seeing right now, and you can see the ground is just covered in hail. So northern Tarrant County, southern Denton County, you are under the gun, and you are the ones with a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And you're like, oh, Pete, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, it's not a tornado warning. Well, look at the damage that we're showing you. I mean, windows knocked out of cars, baseball-size hail and larger, and meteorologist Kyle Roberts pointed this out. We can come back out and look at the radar here. Meteorologist Kyle Roberts, let's broaden out a little bit and let everyone see what else is going on across North Texas. We had this one supercell thunderstorm that moved in. It's still creating some problems in southern Denton County, but meteorologist Kyle Roberts pointed out very accurately, these aren't tornado sirens that we have. That phrase, tornado sirens, that's been gone for years. They're storm sirens. Now, they're storm sirens that let you know what's going on when you're outside. They don't work when you're inside. I mean, unless you have all the windows open or something like that, but they are storm sirens now, and they have been for a number of years. And I've heard people say for years, oh, they only sound these when tornadoes go off. No, they don't. They sound them anytime there's a bad, severe weather situation. It could be winds of 60 miles per hour. It could be hail of, golf ball size or bigger, or certainly it can be tornadoes. They're storm sirens. That's what we have, and that's what's been going off all over Tarrant County. Now in Denton County, the storm sirens are going off. We have additional thunderstorms back to the west. This stuff will move in later tonight. Zoom in for me, if you will, Jason. Jason Joseph's our weather producer. Zoom in for me, Jason, into Denton County. And as we look at what's going on in Denton County, that's where we have our lone severe thunderstorm right now. That is in the southeast corner of Denton County, right along 35. There's 121. Here's the Vista Ridge Mall area in Louisville, right here where 35 and 121 kind of come together. So right in that area there, that's the area of concern. George Bush runs right through here too. So it's north of the Bush right now. It's right on top of 35. So it is, let's zoom in a little bit tighter. You have that severe thunderstorm warning for Denton County until 9:45. Very, very large hail. It's on the south end of Lake Louisville. Here's Valley Ridge Boulevard. Here's Highland Village. So it's past you in Double Oak. It's just south of you in Highland Village. Now, Highland Village, the hail core is down here around Valley Ridge Boulevard. So although you may not have baseball-sized hail happening at this moment in Highland Village, you're like, Pete, we just have some pea-sized stuff or some quarter-sized stuff. Well, as this storm shifts a little bit more to the north, if a little finger of that just reaches up a little bit, you're under the gun too there in really Highland Village, right there kind of in the town center, we'll call it, of Highland Village. You know what I'm talking about. All the nice restaurants right there. That's the area of concern right now. So there's Valley Ridge Boulevard. This is on the south end of the lake. Take the reflectivity, Jason, turn it off for just a moment, please, so it doesn't obscure the topography. If you can turn that radar reflectivity off for just a moment. I know Jason's dealing with a bit of a delay there. See where I'm talking about? So here's the lake. There's Highland Village. There's 35. Put the reflectivity back on. It's going to run across the south end of the lake here momentarily, and then as it moves across the south end, it's going to head toward you. The Colony, you're on the east side of the lake. That's where it's going to go after that. This is 121. Do we have the Denton Tower cam? Let's take a look at that Denton Tower cam. Very heavy rain right now falling there in Denton. I don't see much in the way of wind. I see an emergency responder down in the bottom. Don't know what's going on there, but I don't see much in the way of wind, and I'm not surprised. What I am seeing right now, though, is very, very heavy rain and large hail. Lots of lightning as we rotate that camera around just a little bit. So very, very large hail with these thunderstorms, and damage has been taking place with these thunderstorms as well. Let's go back just a moment to my Twitter page and take a look at some of the damage. This is from Blue Sky Sports and Keller, Golden Triangle and 377. You see the damage there? Looks like the back window of a car. With that, you can also see some of the golf ball size hail from Timberland and Spotted Owl Drive and Keller. Look at some of the hail here. So we're measuring hail in centimeters now. So is that centimeters or inches? But several inches long there. We have the large hail there with that. I'm just trying to pull up some of these pictures here while we do this pretty quickly. Thanks to people for sending me pictures of their animals in this situation. Found this at Mayberry. Found this maybe hailstones. Oh, okay, now we're having a little fun here. So let's do this. Let's go back to what we have happening on the radar. We're starting to see this intensify just a little bit right now. These last couple of scans with the radar is showing the intensity has picked up just a little bit right on the south end of Lake Louisville. Let's put a track it up toward the Colony. It's going to run just as we suspected, right up 121. It'll run just east on 121. And as it runs east on 121, you'll be able to track the storm. I'll give you the arrival times. And just know when it arrives in your area, you will have very, very large hail. I'm talking golf ball up to baseball size hail. Louisville, you're there now. It's right there in the heart of Louisville. The Colony at 922 and also Frisco at 931. I know we have some of these other tower cams that we can put up here, and you guys just put them up and we will refer to them. The Denton Tower cam still lighting up with lots of lightning. So we're now on the south side of Lake Louisville. We are south of Lake Dallas. That's where the hail core is. It's right in Louisville right now, right along Interstate 35, really at 35 and 121, 35E and 121, right where they come together. That would be the southern part of Louisville, right where they come together, just north of the George Bush Turnpike. That is where we have the largest hail that we're seeing right now. Let's. Do we have Matt Howerton out there at this point? I know Matt has been storm chasing for us throughout the evening hours. Meteorologist Kyle Roberts is with us. Kyle, I know you continue to keep an eye on this. I mentioned that we're transitioning. We have made the transition from a tornado threat. Now we're just dealing with a very, very large hail threat. And this, too, is very dangerous, isn't it, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely so. I mean, you've seen it from those pictures. I mean, this is hail big enough that it busts out your windshield, busts out your back windshield. If there's any sort of wind, it can break the windows of your house. I mean, this is absolutely a damaging storm when you're talking about hail of this size. And as we talked about, you can kind of see it at the beginning of the loop here. This is all residential area. I mean, these are all just houses that this hailstorm tracked through. So, I mean, no doubt there's going to be roof damage in these locations, anywhere from Flower Mound to Louisville, obviously back to Keller as well when that storm was intense in that area. Anybody who's parked outside, going to have hail damage to your car, maybe even busted out windshields and your back windshields like we've shown you the pictures of. That's what we're dealing with here. Storm moving off to the north and east. So once it clears the lake, then east sides of the lake, the Colony on the east sides of the lake, up toward Frisco, west sides of Frisco would be in this as well. Maybe even Little Elm. Little Elm used to be a small community, not very big. Now there's quite a big area that are considered Little Elm. That could be on kind of maybe the northern fringe of this hail core as well. But I would certainly say the Colony on the east side of Lake Louisville under the gun for this hail core as well. I'm also looking back at this little appendage here right over Louisville at the moment, and I'm not overly concerned right now, but I am a little bit concerned that maybe this thing is trying to wrap up again. Remember, we had that tornado warning back when it was over parts of northern Tarrant County, the Parker-Tarrant County line, I should say, Eagle Mountain Lake, that part of Tarrant County. We had a tornado warning for northern Tarrant County. We haven't had that for quite some time now. We do not have a tornado warning right now. But just something about the way this storm looks, I just don't like the way it's looking or kind of evolving right now. And I think we still just need to stay vigilant, keeping our eyes on it, keeping the rotation. If that rotation tightens up, we could get another tornado warning. If that were to occur, it's for areas just south of that hail core. So, I mean, if you're already seeking shelter and you're already concerned about the hail core, it's pretty much going to be the same areas that I would be concerned about rotation. Maybe just to the south of that, maybe just a little bit closer to 121 if this hail core is passing just north of 121, east sides of the lake, Lake Louisville, that is, over into the Colony. If this thing can wrap up a little bit, it hasn't yet, but if it does, then that would be right along 121 or the Sam Rayburn Tollway there that I would be concerned with any sort of rotation. But as of right now, haven't seen that just yet, but it's definitely something we need to keep our eyes on as this storm continues to track across the northern part of DFW. But at the moment, our primary concern is that large hail, 2+ inches. Now, how big is that? That's the size of tennis balls, maybe even up to baseballs. We had 3-inch hail recorded back in Keller. That is definitely larger than the size of baseball. You get 2-inch hail. That's about tennis ball size. 2 3/4 inches, or between 2 and 3 inches, about the size of a baseball. So yeah, that's what this storm has been producing. And as we've seen, that's definitely big enough to damage roofs. That's definitely big enough to damage your cars, at least dent your cars. And then once you get up to that baseball size, that's when it can just completely shatter your windshields. You get those just holes in your windshields from this storm. So what can you do? If you're out ahead of this storm, try and move your car inside if you can. Make room in the garage, although obviously if it's right on your doorstep, I wouldn't suggest running outside, dodging the hail to do that. Unfortunately, it may be a little too late. But if you're well off into the Colony, if you're Frisco, maybe even a little farther west than that, that's what you could do, is try and move your car inside to protect it from the potential hail headed your way. But if you're back into the storm, look at what you can't really see in this storm as well. I know they're really small, is the lightning. I mean, this storm has tremendous amounts of lightning as well. It also could have some strong winds, and then also you have that heavy rain. This is not worth going outside at all, not only because of the hail threat, but just it's a dangerous storm when you have the lightning and the hail that you had. Reminder earlier, if you are hearing any sort of sirens, we do not have a tornado warning in place right now, but they can sound the sirens for other things than tornadoes. They're called outdoor warning sirens. I know Pete was talking about this earlier. They've been called tornado sirens for a long time, but that's not the case now. We mainly refer to them as outdoor warning sirens. They're mainly for people outdoors, and they can be sounded for things other than just tornadoes. One of those things is hail. So if you're hearing the sirens, it's because of the hail threat contained in the storm. And we just did get a radar update. I'm now liking kind of the way the storm's looking a little bit more than I was earlier. It's kind of ragged down here. Doesn't quite have, that little bit of kind of curl that it had with the last radar update that we had. This new radar update, I'm liking a little bit more in that it doesn't look as organized down here in the part of the storm that I would be most concerned with rotation. It's just kind of ragged and messy looking. I'm fine with that. Let's keep it that way. I don't want this thing to wrap up anymore and we get a tight circulation and all of a sudden this thing produces a tornado. I'd rather it look exactly like it is right now. But the thing hadn't weakened. That hail core still definitely there, right over Lake Louisville right now. This thing's a supercell. It's for sure a supercell, and supercells produce this type of hail, and it doesn't seem to be weakening anytime soon, regardless of whether or not it has any tornadic rotation or any indications of rotation, it's still a supercell and can produce hail like we've seen, that tennis ball, baseball size. And I think that hail threat definitely continuing there, especially kind of between.
And Kyle, I'm seeing some questions on Twitter right now. And the one thing that I want to let people know is they say, well, hey, you know, we still have a tornado watch going on. We have a tornado watch going on. Why are you guys talking about hail? Well, we do have a tornado watch happening right now. Tornado watch is in effect for the entire Metroplex and the majority of North Texas until 2 o'clock in the morning. So the tornado watch is in effect. We had a tornado warned storm. That has now been canceled. That was for Tarrant County. The thunderstorm, as Kyle just mentioned, the supercell thunderstorm itself that may have produced a tornado. We're trying to get some confirmation of that right now. We do have confirmation that we had rotation with a thunderstorm. We just don't know if it touched the ground. But we have transitioned from that to now just a large hail maker. And these supercell thunderstorms, they're notorious for two things: producing large hail and producing tornadoes. We're having one of the two. We already had one. We've now just rolled into the second one. And as Kyle mentioned, we had a little bit of just a tad, a little bit of a hook, a little bit of a notch right here on this storm down around Louisville just a moment ago, showing some rotation, some moderate rotation, not the strong rotation we had earlier, but some moderate rotation. That has now weakened just a little bit. I mean, it's not as strong of a signature as we saw just a few moments ago. Let's put the velocity data on there if we can, please. And Jason, when we put the velocity data on there, there's our rotation right there. You could put the, Jason, you put the rotation symbol on there. It's right where those two colors come together. Right where we have those two colors that come together, that's wind that's going to the thunderstorm and wind that's going away from the thunderstorm, or to the radar and away from the radar. That's where we have our wind. And when you can look within a thunderstorm and you see rotation within a thunderstorm, you see the winds within a thunderstorm, that's what Doppler radar does. It looks at the winds within a thunderstorm, and when it sees rotation, and that's what these different colors are showing right here. When you see that type of rotation, we have rotation aloft in this. Question is it headed down to the surface? And right now it looks like everything is aloft. I don't know, 15, 20 some thousand feet aloft. That's what it looks like at this point. Our concern is it could shift down to the surface, and if it does, that's when we'd have a tornado, possibly a rotating wall cloud right now. Hard to tell with all the rain that we're having, but at a minimum, let's go back to the hail core. So let's switch away from the radar. Let's go back to the hail core, and you can see the hail core right here. Little Elm, the Colony, Louisville, Highland Village. So if we triangulate, if you will, in these areas, south of Little Elm, just to the west-northwest of the Colony, north of Louisville, Highland Village, those purple colors, the darker the purple is, the larger the hailstones are. And that's what we're seeing there right now. We're seeing most likely some golf ball size hail or larger. I showed you a number of pictures of hail that was the size of baseballs or even larger than that. So we have seen some really large hail. I've unfortunately also showed you some of the damage as well that those large hailstones have created. I have a camera that I want to show you right now. Let's go to that camera, and that camera, it's a little video. I think it might be, I think it was in Weatherford, so that would be in Parker County. And you can see this, it's kind of like a Ring camera or something. Watch this, you can hear the audio as well. That's what we're dealing with right now. That is exactly what we're dealing with at this moment. This Denton County storm remains severe, and we will be seeing a severe thunderstorm warning for Collin County any moment now. I expect a new warning coming out for Collin County, and it is going to be for ping pong ball size hail and larger. Okay, and it's not the type of warning where, well, it could be ping pong ball size hail. We're seeing ping pong ball size hail right now in the general area of Little Elm and the Colony. So Frisco, you're going to be under a thunderstorm warning momentarily. Denton County under a thunderstorm warning until 9:45. 9:45 for Denton County. Very, very large hail. Once again, it's moving toward you in Collin County. It's in Little Elm, moving toward you in Frisco. Remember, I don't know, 30 minutes or so ago, I said it was running right along. It was going to run right along 121. That's exactly what it has done. Frisco, and then up to McKinney, and then eventually toward Melissa. That's the direction that it's running right now. You're going to see a lot of rain in Allen and the northern sections of Plano. You will see a lot of rain, but it's moving right toward you in McKinney. Frisco, arrival time, it's 9:21 right now. Arrival time in Frisco is in the next few minutes. Collin, 9:32. Rock Hill, 9:33. There's McKinney. Arrival time for you at 9:51. And there we are. Collin County now under a severe thunderstorm warning to 10:15. That is due to ping pong ball size hail and larger. Ping pong ball size hail and larger. We've seen the ping pong ball. We've seen the tennis ball, the baseball size. Some of it looks like it's been even fairly close to softball size. Softball size is 4-inch. We have Jonah Paniker is in Allen. Jobin, you're in Allen right now. Is that what I'm hearing? Jobin, give me an update on what you're seeing and where you are in Allen, north, south, east, or west side of Allen, because you have a thunderstorm that's to the west of you. It's going to be a close call, Jonah, as to whether or not you get hit by this thunderstorm, but you're in Allen. Jobin Paniker, give me an update. Okay, we can come back here. We do not have Jobin's audio. We will get that corrected in just a moment, but you could see behind Jonah, or Jobin, my apologies. You can see behind Jobin, you could see all the lightning where he was over his shoulders, so most likely his back was kind of facing off to the northwest. So Jobin right now is in Allen, and the storm looks like it's going to run right along 121. It will run right along 121 right here. I don't know where Jobin is in we'll call it the greater Allen area, if you will. For those of us that have lived here for a few years, it's kind of interesting to talk about the greater Allen area. But this part of Collin County and the Metroplex has really just exploded with population over the last 10 plus years. But as this continues to move right along 121, it's moving toward you in McKinney. So here's the story. Right now in McKinney, you have a lot of lightning. Get your cars inside. Get your car in a safe place. Frisco, it's too late for you. Don't go outside in this, because my concern in Frisco is you go outside and you're stuck in the middle of a large hailstorm, and maybe your car has damage, but I'm worried about you getting hurt. So stay inside if you're in Frisco. McKinney, you have just a couple of minutes in McKinney to get outside and get your car into a safe place, but hustle up and do it as quickly as possible. Jobin, you're in Allen. I think we fixed your audio. Give me an update on where you are in Allen and what's happening. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, hey Pete. Yeah, I'm gonna step in front of the camera here. Right now, we're at 75 in Bethany, and if you're saying this thing is tracking toward 121. We are right along 121 here again at 75 in Bethany. We're facing northwest, so this thing should be moving this way. My concern right now, it just feels really, really muggy. It's really warm just about now. This thing should be hitting us here. At least the rain should be coming this way. We've seen a lot of the light show for the last 30 minutes now, but the rain should be hitting us here momentarily. My concern right now are all these people that are on the road. If you can, Joseph, if you can move over. We're right along 75. All these people on 75. There's way more traffic than there needs to be. So I'm sure if you know someone who is on 75 right now, tell them to find a safe place. If you're saying the hail is going to be as big as it is, possibly coming down this way. Again, we are in Allen off 75 and Bethany.
Okay, Jobin, thank you very much for the update. Yeah, I tell you what, you probably have where Jobin is right now. Let's put a track back on that. Jason, let's track the southern part of this storm. So Jobin is, Ed, he said 121 and 75. So right at Bethany. I think was his exit right here. Man, I tell you what, that's going to be a real close call for Jobin, because this southern part of the storm is just literally, it's hugging 121, or Sam Rayburn, it's hugging 121, and it's moving in Jobin's area. So that will arrive, we'll put a track northeast at about 35. It's 925 right now. That will arrive in the Colony at 927. So any moment in the Colony, you're already seeing rain. Fairview at 956. So my estimation for Allen, since the track is just north of it, and Fairview's 956, I would suspect in about 10 to 15 minutes, Jobin will be kind of on that southern edge of that. But the core of the storm right now, is going to be real close to where he is. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I don't know if this southern part is lifting a little bit more this direction, so he may miss it, but you get the point. But if you live in McKinney, you have just a couple of minutes left. If you live in Princeton, you have about 10 minutes to get your car, get it inside, put it in your safe place, some garage to park it there. If you live in Prosper, you need to have already done this, because I'm concerned about quarter size to golf ball size hail there. The Little Elm area right now, we're getting reports of ping pong ball size hail, golf ball size hail in the Little Elm area. Let's zoom in, Jason. Zoom into that right there. Let me show folks where we're getting the reports right now of the ping pong ball size hail in Little Elm. Let's zoom in. Let's put some streets on there. Oh, there we are. Here's El Dorado Parkway, Teal Parkway, Panther Creek Parkway. Oh, yes, we are. Louisville, of course, we have trees down right now. Numerous reports of trees down at 35W and 1709. Sean Hamilton, I have him on the phone right now, sports producer and special projects producer here. Sean, people can't hear you at home, but you're in Allen. Tell me what you're seeing there right now. A lot of thunder and lightning from Sean in Allen. No hail reports yet, but Sean, you have about 15 minutes or so before hail will be very close to your location there.
Okay, good deal. Good to know.
We will check back in with Sean and some of our other folks that are out across North Texas right now chasing this for us as well. But reports of numerous trees down around 35W and 1709. Those trees are down due to that possible touchdown earlier tonight that was in the Saginaw area, Saginaw, Watauga area, that northern half of Tarrant County, if you will. Let's go to this video that we have in Louisville right now. This was just a few minutes ago of the large hail. I'm going to let you listen to this. The sound that you want to hear. Not the sound that you want to hear at all. Let's go back to the radar. Let me show you a couple of other locations here on News 8 DopplerNet. And as you take a look at the radar, Panther Creek Parkway, here's Teal Parkway, here's Main Street. So this is Main Street. We are in Frisco right now, if I'm not mistaken. So there's Main Street. Here is El Dorado, Panther Creek, there's Teal. Oh, so okay, I have my bearings now. So here's the tollway. Okay, so here's the tollway. If that's Main Street, we have the FC Dallas Stadium right here. I'm just making sure I have my bearings correct. So there's Main Street. That's west of the tollway, east of the tollway. Here's Old Frisco. Here's Frisco Fire Safety Town in this area right here. There's Rogers Road, Rock Hill Parkway. I mean, I would say this is the new part of Frisco, but 95% of Frisco's new, right? I mean, it has just grown so much, but this is a very populated area in this location right here. Right on the hail core is right on the west side of the tollway right now. So here's Dallas Parkway, or some of us call it the frontage road, Dallas Parkway, right there that runs parallel with the tollway, and there's the hail core right now, just to the south of Panther Creek. So Jason, we put on the hail core. We're showing the direction that it's moving. Let's do this. Let's zoom in. Let's flip our reflectivity off and go to our hail analysis tool and see what this Doppler radar is showing, the size of the hail that we have right now. And you've heard me mention several times that we have multiple Doppler radars, and we do. We flip-flop back and forth between three of them. Here at Channel 8. And as we take a look at those, one of the tools that we can do with Doppler radar is take a look at the hail size. And this hail core right now, it's only about quarter size on this radar scan. So that radar scan is about quarter size hail, about 1 inch hail. But some of the reports that I'm getting at this moment, some of the reports that I'm seeing from people are saying that we do have ping pong ball size hail in these locations. So I do want you to be careful as we head through tonight. If you're under these severe thunderstorm warnings, you please need to stay alert, because we have had some very, very large hail tonight, and we'll continue to see the large hail as we head through the next couple of hours. Let's go back to my Twitter page real fast. I have some tennis ball size hail. You could take a look at that picture right there. I also want you to know that we do have the Denton County storm. The Denton County storm remains severe, although it has shifted out of Denton. It's now in Collin County. We do have the Collin County storm that is in place, and a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Collin County for hail like that. That was in Keller just a short time ago. That's the potential you have right now in Collin County. We can go back to the radar, and the radar will show the hail core, the very, very heavy rain. I also know that we, Jason, let's put a track on that, if you will, quickly, just so we can show people the direction that this storm is moving, the time that it's going to arrive, and the towns that it will impact. And as we do that, we'll put a track on that. We're now moving from the central part, the west central part of Collin County, up into the northern half of Collin County as it moves. It's already arrived in Salina, although you're seeing rain, you're seeing lightning and thunder. The strongest part of the storm is down in Frisco right now. So, but Prosper, you're in here as well. Frisco, certainly you are too. Up to Kelly, Melissa, McKinney, and then it will exit Collin County. But Collin County severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 10:15. Meteorologist Kyle Roberts. Kyle, give me a break for just a second. I'm losing my voice here. Let me get a quick drink, but give me an update on what you have going on at Young Street.
Well, a couple of things going on here, Pete. Is the one thing I think is good is that I think I'm seeing a little bit of a downward trend, maybe in the hail sizes with this storm. Meteorologist Jesse Huila, all of you know him. He lives up in the Frisco area, and he literally just texted me, said he had dime-sized hail. So that's good news. That's way smaller than what we were dealing with earlier, where we had the tennis ball to baseball size hail. And just looking at kind of the loop here and the reflectivity, which is the colors that you see on the radar, we don't have as many as of those darker shaded colors that we had earlier when the storm was back over Keller, when it was back over Louisville, when it was back over northern parts of Tarrant County, southern parts of Denton County. So I think the hail sizes have come down just a little bit. I've seen some pea-sized hail reports in the storm. Of course, we just need to stay weather aware with it. It could pulse back up at any time. There's tons of moisture for the storm to be dealing with right now. Joe Bapaniker, who's in Allen, was telling us how humid it is outside. No doubt if you've stepped outside, you've noticed how humid it is outside. The higher the humidity on days like today, the more fuel, the more moisture in the atmosphere for these storms, and that's why we have one that's this intense, because we have all that moisture out there. So this thing could pulse back up at any time. That's why we need to continue watching it here, and that's why that severe thunderstorm warning does continue for parts of Collin County as it moves into Collin County right now. Jason, are you still there? Can you zoom back in just a little bit at the moment, and we'll kind of talk about the latest.
Well, and Kyle, Collin's in effect until 10:15. Yeah. Denton County is in effect until 9:45.
Yeah, exactly. So 10:15 is when we still have that warning in effect until. So we need to stay prepared, stay watching it until that time frame, and it may keep going farther off to the east, and it may impact areas of Hunt County after that. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. But yeah, this hail core right here, here's 380. The tollway and up into 380, as Pete was talking about, back in the day, there wasn't a whole lot up here. But now we have plenty of communities in northern Frisco. Northern Frisco didn't really used to be anything. Now there's plenty of homes up this way. Those of you that live up here definitely seeing this storm. Pea, dime, nickel size, maybe quarter to ping pong ball sized hail at the largest, I think. But this hail core, not quite as intense as it was earlier, but definitely still worth paying attention to. Here's Preston Road, 289 Preston Road, same thing. Runs up through Collin County. It hits 380. You have a couple overpasses here that run over 380. If you've ever been in that part of Collin County, North Frisco, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's where that hail core is, where the tollway meets 380. Your Preston Road goes up over 380 right there. Prosper's just north of that. Prosper's grown in size tremendously over the last 10 years. It's headed that way. Plenty of communities up in this part of North Texas, this part of the DFW area, that hail core tracking right toward 380. It's basically at 380, the tollway in Preston right now. So that would be headed into the Prosper area at the moment. Jason, why don't you zoom back out for a moment, because we talked about the hail core, and I do want to kind of take a little bit wider shot and kind of refocus on something here that I've seen people talking about, because we have this tornado watch that's in effect for most of North Texas until 2 o'clock this upcoming morning. But we're talking about hail. We're talking about a severe thunderstorm here. We had that tornado warning, that tornado threat earlier for northern parts of Tarrant County. Now this storm does not have a tornado threat with it, but it does have that hail threat with it, continues to have that hail threat. We have a tornado watch in place because the conditions in the atmosphere are favorable for potential tornadoes. It's not guaranteed that we're going to have them, but they could happen. And that's why we have that tornado watch in place at the moment. When we have a tornado watch in place, we're going to have severe thunderstorms, because in order to get a tornado, you got to have a severe thunderstorm. So we're going to have severe thunderstorms. We have them out there right now.
And Kyle, I want to interrupt you for just a second.
Yeah, go ahead,
I want to
Pete.
go back to Jobin Paniker. We have his camera up. He is there in Allen. So Kyle was tracking the storms right on the Denton-Collin County line, in Frisco, in Prosper, and he's in Allen right now. And Jobin, we're still a few minutes away from the arrival time for you there in Allen. And you said, Jobin, that you're at 75 and Bethany. Is that correct? 75 in Bethany.
We're at 75 in Bethany.
Okay, and the lightning has intensified a little bit in the last few minutes?
Lightning has intensified. Kyle was talking about the humidity. I can tell you just in the last 30 minutes here, the temperatures, it feels like went up 5-7 degrees just in the last 30 minutes. So yes, we're seeing the lightning show has been going for about 30-40 minutes now. My concern right now are the people who are on Highway 75 just right next to us. If you have a loved one who's on 75, if this is tracking the way Pete and Kyle, you say this is tracking along 121, it's going to affect the people here on 75. If you have a loved one on 75, tell them to find some covered parking, because you don't want to be a sitting duck with hail coming down on you as you're on this highway.
Okay.
So
and
again,
Jobin,
we're at 75 in Bethany and Allen.
So Jobin, we're looking at 75 right now. I guess, is your camera pointed north there at this point, or you pointed?
Yep.
You're pointed north. So what direction are you looking?
Northwest.
You're pointed northwest. So you're pointing directly toward that storm. Point your camera due west, if you will.
Joseph, let's point our camera west. So let's
in
go this way.
The building
we
might
do have a big build. We
Yep.
have a big
Okay.
building right in the way.
Okay, yeah, because
so that might be a challenge.
That is the direction that the storm is. It is due west of you right now. In about 5 minutes, it'll be to your northwest. That northwest shot's kind of just catching a corner of the storm, but the core is due west of you right now. So we're going to check back in with you in just a few. Oh my. There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right there on that. That's the leading edge of it right there, Jobin.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the leading edge of that storm. So I'm glad we were able to catch that, because at a minimum, that's what people are seeing. And let's transition real fast from Jobin's shot. Let's go back over to there's the weather, there's the Doppler radar. Now go over to my Twitter page real fast and look what happened to Golden Triangle. You guys see that? See, if some of you are wondering, why is he still talking? This is the potential that we have. This has happened. This happened at Golden Triangle. JK tweeted me this one, so sorry that your car was damaged like that. I appreciate the tweet and the picture to just show us just exactly the type of potential we have. I don't have baseball size hail. That's about the size this was there, but let's go back to Jobin's camera. But I do have ping pong ball, golf ball size hail. That's all in the forecast. So at a minimum, we're looking at $50 up to about $50 to which is 1 1/4 inch. Ping pong golf ball size is about 1 1/2 inch, 1 3/4. So you get the idea. You get up to around $50 ping pong golf ball size, you're looking at a pretty serious situation. Once again, Jobin's camera is pointed off to the northwest. And Jobin, I don't really see any winds. It looks kind of eerily calm right now.
The winds have picked up just slightly, and just as I was talking about how warm it was, it's cooled down now. So we're seeing a little bit of the wind pick up. Obviously, you're seeing a lot of the lightning But aside from that, no rain yet. I think you're telling me it's we're about still 10, 12 minutes out from possible rain here in Allen,
Correct.
Allen, McKinney area.
Yep. About 10 minutes out at this point.
Seeing that. Well, you know, our broadcasting is working because a lot of people. So we're in a probably 4-level parking garage. A lot of people are now. There's a line of people now trying to get their cars in this parking garage. So hopefully people are getting the hint that they don't want to get hit by some of this hail.
Yeah, and you know, Jobin, you mentioned just a moment ago that you were starting to see it kind of cool down a little bit. Why you're seeing that cooler air start to rush in is that's the cooler air that's flowing out of the thunderstorm. And that tells you that thunderstorm is getting really, really close to you. And where you are right now, let's go back to the radar. We'll hang with Jobin here for just a moment, but let's zoom in. Jobin's right here. He's in this area right here. Let's zoom into that, Jason, just a little bit if we can, please. Let's zoom into that. I don't think we can see Bethany on there, but here's El Dorado. So let's see if you can find Bethany for me. Here's Virginia. You're going the wrong direction. There we go. So we're down here in this. We're in this general area right up in here, I believe. There's Stacy. There's Exchange. We're farther to the north, but nonetheless, there's Bethany. Okay, so here's Bethany. Jobin's over on this side. He's looking. Now let's zoom out a little bit. So he's right here where we have the word Allen. Okay, you can zoom out a little bit more, Jason. There we go. Keep going because I want to see the core of the thunderstorm. So Jobin's camera is pointed just like that. So the storm now has even shifted. Jason, we can zoom out a little bit more. The storm has shifted a little bit even more to the north. It was kind of hugging 121. It was hugging 121, and now it's kind of moved more to the north. So, McKinney, you may get really, really lucky with this storm as it moves from Frisco up to Prosper and Salina. It's moving now. It's kind of taken a little bit more. That was taking that northeast trajectory. Now it's taking more of a northeast trajectory. Kind of interesting little turn there at the last moment, which McKinney, you may be in good luck. So that's great news for you. Not good news for Prosper and Salina, or maybe in Anna, although meteorologist Kyle Roberts mentioned a few moments ago, the hail core has really come down on this thunderstorm. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Collin County until 10:15. I think we started this tonight at 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, right when the president started to speak. We had the tornado warning for Tarrant County. The tornado warning was issued for Tarrant County, and then that was right there on the Tarrant-Parker County line. We had multiple reports of rotation with the thunderstorm, and then we had some damage that was reported on the Tarrant-Parker County line, and we transitioned that tornado all the way through the Keller area, or the potential tornado through Keller and also into South Lake, Saginaw, and then we just transitioned at some point between Saginaw and Keller. We transitioned into just plain hail, and it was really, really large hail. It was the baseball, close to the softball size hail. I've showed you multiple pictures tonight of the damage on people's cars, certainly people's homes, and that's an unfortunate situation. But in the spring in North Texas, unfortunately, that does happen. As we continue to look at the Frisco Salina area, it's the west side of Collin County, and it's really the west central side of Collin County. Almost now, if you draw Collin County into four quadrants, kind of the northwest quadrant, almost the northwest quadrant of this storm, right from 75 and then 380. If you take this quadrant, that's the area that's under the threat right now. So Jason, let's zoom into that area, that northwestern quarter, if you will, of Collin County. Let's take a look at a couple of these locations. Of course, Prosper, Salina, and then Weston up there. I know, Chris, you and Cynthia have been here throughout the night. I know you've been keeping an eye on things. We've put multiple tracks on here. What kind of damage are you guys hearing? What are emergency responders or the fire department or the police department? What are you hearing from them?
So I can tell you, I got off the phone with the Keller Public Information Officer here just a short while ago, and she said the big story there has been the hail. I mean, we're talking the baseball-sized hail that you've been talking about throughout the evening. She said you could just feel it hitting windows, and you thought the windows were going to shatter. She said that a lot of trees have been damaged in Keller. A lot of cars have been damaged. And when you talk about the tree damage, Pete, she said it's not the trees down, it's the trees with the branches and a lot of the leaves down. So Keller residents will have a lot of cleaning up to do tomorrow morning. But here's the good news. She says as of 20 minutes ago when I spoke with her, no injuries had been reported. And I know you've been checking out the power outages.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed all that much. I think Pete, like you've been saying, this is mostly a hail event, but so far we haven't seen. It was about 5,500 maybe about an hour and a half ago. Now it's just a little bit over 7,000 people without power in the area. So not a huge number when you look at a storm of this size and how big of an area that it's covered.
I spoke with Saginaw Dispatch, and you talk about damage, and for a while there was a train stopped because of the weather at, I want to say it was Bailey, Boswell, and Saginaw Boulevard there in Saginaw. She said that she had called the train company. They were aware of the situation of this train stop there in Saginaw. She said she hadn't received any calls of large damage yet, but she said the calls about damage to your cars in Saginaw have been overwhelming there tonight. A lot of people taking a hit on their cars.
Hey, yeah, Cynthia, let's do this. Will the control room go back to my Twitter page? Because you just mentioned Saginaw. So we'll come back to you guys in just a second. But to put my Twitter page up, this is in Saginaw. Zachary Ellis tweeted me that. You can see the windshield, or I'm sorry, the what is that called? The headlight, for goodness sakes. Headlight is broken out there. Look at the mirror on this car. That is broken. And the windshield, look at the damage on that. Not only the windshield, but just on the car itself. And there's the windshield.
Yep.
So Cynthia and Chris, that's exactly what we're seeing. This is Zachary Ellis. He tweeted me this from Saginaw. He said it's at the Walmart in Saginaw. That's the damage there.
Yep, and that's exactly what Saginaw Dispatch was talking about, Pete. She said she has not stopped taking calls about people concerned about their vehicles and about that train that was stopped. I also called dispatch in Weatherford. The dispatcher was out of breath when I spoke with her about an hour ago. You could hear their phones just ringing in the background, so I just let her go because she was dealing with a lot of calls. But again, out of Keller and Saginaw, a lot of people are dealing with damaged vehicles, unfortunately, tonight.
But so far, haven't heard any major damage to homes, to businesses. It's been cars, tree limbs, things along that. I think we got Matt Howerton. We have him back up now. I know he's been in Keller trying to look at some of the damage there. Matt, what are you seeing? Or you're in Allen now. What are you seeing there?
No, we're actually in Keller, Chris. We're seeing a lot of the hail damage that you're talking about. You guys have been talking about in a neighborhood here in Keller. If you look here at the ground, you can actually still see some of the hailstones that fell down. And this has been here for about 45 minutes to an hour, and they're pretty much ping pong size, golf ball size hailstones that we're seeing out here in this neighborhood. So if you think, they've been sitting here for 45 minutes and they've had the time to melt. They were much bigger, according to a lot of neighbors here, whenever they did actually hear them falling down on the ground. There's a lot of shredded vegetation here in this neighborhood, which does indicate that there was a lot of hailstones and that big hailstorm that was coming through here. Just want to show you this car, this BMW, this family let us take a look at it here earlier. The top of it, the sunroof, you could see has been shattered by one of those hailstones. Some of them there, you can even see remnants of the hailstones to the right of the car. And then if you walk with me this way, might take a sec to catch up, but if you walk with me this way, you can see all of the glass here on the back of this Honda. These hailstones just shattered the back windshield of this Honda. It's pretty insane to talk to some of the folks that we've spoken with here on this street. They say about 45 minutes ago to an hour, they heard just thunderous noises outside. They came outside to check on their cars, and then clearly this was all here waiting for them, this hailstorm taking advantage of this neighborhood here in Keller. But like we said earlier, we've been tracking this storm from Parker County, and it just was this small cell, and it just kept building and building and building. We saw a wall cloud that looked like it was a mile wide, and then it just moved into northern Tarrant. And that's when it became a tornado warning, and that's when obviously a lot of this stuff went down. So it's been kind of a striking sight to see. This is some of the stuff that we were worried about when we were driving through it earlier today. And of course, a lot of people haven't seen the full extent of the damage because it's nighttime. We'll probably see all of that in the morning. We've seen some roofs here. We have one person actually in our station that lives near here, and she said that her roof looks pretty bad. A lot of people are probably going to have to survey the damage when they wake up in the morning, because right now it's kind of dark and it doesn't look too good, I'll say that much.
Matt, not far from you at Keller Town Center, there's a Tom Thumb there, and I spoke with a lady who said while they were inside of the Tom Thumb that you could hear the hail coming down earlier this evening, and she said it was really intense. I mean, she was out of breath when I spoke with her. What are these residents in this neighborhood telling you about what they went through when all this hail was coming down, this large hail damaging their vehicles?
Well, like we said, let's take a look back at these hailstones that we can just find here on the ground. When you walk outside and you see this type of stuff falling, and like we said, this is much smaller than it was 45 minutes to an hour ago. You get pretty scared. You get pretty worried. You got to take shelter at first, obviously. One of the neighbors here that we were talking with, she, I think, and I'm not sure their relation, but she was coming home with someone here from church just a little bit ago, and then all of a sudden they start seeing all of this once they get inside their home, and so literally you go into panic mode because you don't know outside. Hey, what about the things that we left out there? What if our cars? What about them? Are they safe? So they all felt incredibly scared, and the damage with their cars isn't too terrible. You can see clearly there's some dents in the top of this BMW right here, Josh, on the top. You can see some dents on the top right where this windshield, or excuse me, this sunroof was smashed through. And then, and like we said, this is the type of stuff that was left over whenever it all started to come down. So yeah, like I said, these neighbors, they're pretty frantic. They wanted to make sure their property's okay. And a hailstorm, especially when it comes to cars, I mean, that's going to be a really big problem here for probably a lot of vehicles in this neighborhood. And like we said, roofs too. But then again, it's kind of hard to judge that until the sun comes up.
Yeah, well, tell them we're sorry about their vehicles, but glad they're okay, Matt.
And Cynthia, this isn't the last round of storms we're going to have. We still have the northern Collin County storm that is severe right now, and that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect, I think, until 10:15 for Collin County. And weather producer extraordinaire, I might add, Jason Joseph is running the radar for me right now. This is our Collin County one. It's along 380 and then to the north. Now, it's certainly not, it's 10:15. It is certainly not as intense as it was a short time ago, but I don't want you to think because this has moved out, we're done with thunderstorms tonight. But I also don't want you to think that we're going to have the baseball-sized hail or larger as we head through the rest of the night. But we do have a tornado watch for the entire, let's put that tornado watch up, Jason, and then we're going to go back to this, to the DMA radar, if you will. But there's the tornado watch. This is until 2 o'clock in the morning. So the threat is not over with. I mean, it's not like we had this one round move through. This one round was just a supercell thunderstorm. It's not like we had just this one round move through and we're good for the rest of the night. I believe it's going to be a bumpy night, and I'll show you why in a moment. But once again, all of Dallas-Fort Worth is under a tornado watch until 2 o'clock. And remember, we have the flash flood watch in effect overnight right now through tomorrow morning. Why is that flash flood watch in effect? It's the entire metroplex to the west, to the east, and also to the north. That is in effect because of this. It's now these thunderstorms that were little individual thunderstorms are now congealing into one big line. And as they do, they will move into one big line of storms. This is going to be our flash flood concern overnight. This one big line is going to slowly move through the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it could dump anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rain overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. So we have the problematic hail tonight. across Tarrant County, Denton County. Now it's moved into Collin County, now north of McKinney, not far from you in Prosper, and also not far from you in Prosper, and also in Salina. We have hail that's happening there. But once we finish with that, we'll have a bit of a break, and then we'll wait for this stuff to move in. So it's in Graham right now. So Graham. So here's one little trick that I use to figure out how quickly storms will arrive. Counties in Texas are 30 miles across. So from county seat in Dallas to county seat in Fort Worth and across all of these counties here, it's 30 miles from county seat to county seat. And when Texas, long ago, back in the days of the cowboys and all of that stuff, they decided that in order to do commerce, they needed 30 miles from county seat to county seat, because you could take your wagon 30 miles in one day and you could have commerce that way. So they designed all of these counties. So we know that thunderstorms move, generally speaking, at about 30 miles an hour. Some are a little faster, some are a little slower, but the average is about 30 miles. So that's the rule of thumb that we use. From Fort Worth to Dallas, if a thunderstorm is moving 30 miles an hour, it takes 1 hour, right? So we know that in Graham it's 1 hour, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 hours in Denton. So this whole line is anywhere from 4 to 5, maybe 6 hours away. So if we have this in Breckenridge here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours from Fort Worth. So about 4 hours from Denton and Fort Worth. So it's about 10 o'clock. So that's about 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what we'll have there. And then in Dallas, it's, 2, 3 o'clock. So that's the time. Now the forward speed's about 35 miles an hour. So I would say the Dallas-Fort Worth area, this next line of storms will roll in midnight to 2 o'clock, 1 to about 3 o'clock. That's the general timing of these thunderstorms. Just a little trick that I learned a long time ago. But that's what we're watching right now with these thunderstorms. Let's zoom back into this storm up in Collin County. Let's put a track on that storm. And as we track that storm, moving to the north, it's really kind of northeast right now. Boy, McKinney, you have gotten really lucky. This storm is now, it's moving this direction. It's moving out of Collin County, and it's going to be out of Collin County here momentarily. Let's track that real fast. We'll put a track on that. And the news starts in about 2 minutes. That will be News 8 at 10. We'll have, of course, comprehensive coverage of the day's news. We'll have comprehensive coverage of the storms. I'll give you more on that timeline. But know that the storm in Collin County right now, that is northwestern Collin County. That'll arrive in Westminster at 10:06, Whitewright 10:23, Bonham at 10:24. There's an interesting name. 10:49 in Hale. All my years here, I've never seen Hale, Texas before. Dodge City at 10:52. We're all familiar with Bug Tussle. 11:02. That is the time of arrival in those towns. Those are the locations. That's the time. This storm right now is moving more in a northerly trajectory as opposed to an easterly trajectory, and it will move out of Collin County here in the next, I'd say the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. We're going to continue to get these maps together for you. I'll have that thunderstorm timeline. In addition to that thunderstorm timeline, I'm also going to have pictures and video. We have Matt Howerton out. We have Jobin Paniker out as well. I not only have thunderstorms overnight and the chance of more severe weather. Remember, the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area and most of North Texas right now is under a tornado watch until 2 o'clock in the morning. And we also have a flash flood watch for the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area all the way up to the Red River. That flash flood watch is in effect now through the overnight until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're looking at not only damaging winds, large hail, and a tornado threat overnight, but we are also looking at a flash flooding threat. Make sure you stay with us right now. News 8 at 10 starts at this moment.